Yes, sir.
He is out. Announcement. Pearson.
Hello,
Okay.
everybody, and welcome to week
Because we have
3
integrity, you know, Dan.
NFL.
It's all about integrity.
pick for the show where the NFL handicapping gurus, Big Danny D and Big Brian B, will bring you 4 best picks for Sunday's NFL games, to include the Big Danny D guarantee and Big Brian B guarantee. As always, we will start off with a recap of week 2. How'd you guys do?
2-2.
2-2.
I'm trying to do the screen sharing here.
I think the Big D's off to a roaring start of 0-2.
Coming out of the gate fast.
Yeah,
man.
that's right. I knew last year was gonna come back to bite me.
You're like the horse when they when the whistle goes off, it just stays in the gate for.
Yeah, right. It goes into the crowd, and starts
Yeah.
eating everyone like that retarded horse on Family Guy.
So here you have it, ladies and gentlemen, your week 2 results. What say you, gurus? I just want to point out very quickly to the on-air talent, the guarantees are supposed to be better picks than the combined.
Well, the Redskins blow.
Yeah. Fucking I don't know what happened with that game.
And the Colts.
Why is it every season we have to relearn this lesson? Don't bet on the Redskins.
I know. I was thinking about that. You always say that. And I told Brian, but he wanted to go with it anyway. He used his old gut again.
No, I didn't.
That's right.
No, I didn't. I just thought that was a huge spread.
But
I mean,
I really thought the
good
Colts
pick.
were going to come through at home. But they'd won like 8 or 9 straight at home. But I guess a streak has to end at some point.
well, and I mean, they were in the game up until the end, obviously. Am I correct?
Yeah, they had a chance to cover by the end, but what's his name? Luck threw an interception, and that was it. And Miami played well. At least we nailed the 2 guaranteed the combined picks. Thank God for the Panthers forgetting to cover Stevie Johnson in the end zone.
Yeah.
And the Broncos just annihilated the Giants. Yeah.
So the Manning Bowl is Peyton continues to be undefeated in the Manning Bowl. Is he 3-0 now?
Yeah.
3-0 in the Manning Bowl. Absolute debacle. The Redskins, that's typical. Didn't they do that against the Eagles? Oh, we show some promise in the fourth quarter. But it doesn't even cover the
Their
spread.
defense is.
Yeah, they got shellacked.
They better win this week because the stat of like 0-3 teams making the playoffs is like 3% or something, right? Something like
Yeah.
No,
something
it's
like
actually
that.
0-2. It's been like, I don't know, 5 years or something since an 0-2 team has made
Yeah,
the
but it's even
playoffs.
worse when you're 0-3. I'm saying the Redskins better win this week. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if they're going to. I mean, they face Detroit. That's going to be tough.
So the overall, we are at a winning record overall. Big D remains the team anchor at 0-2.
Yeah, right. Bringing down the ship. Well, you're only 1-1, so you don't have much to write home about either.
That's just so funny.
Well, at least you're consistent. That's what I like to see, the consistency.
That's right. Consistent loser. Well, we're going to right the ship this week, damn it.
Oh, I like the pun. The anchor is going to right the ship. Like that. Nice segue.
Thank you. That's why we're the on-air talent.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have the week 3 Badge of the Week from Danny Dane.
All right, this week's Badge of the Week is Texans quarterback Matt Schaub. This man who calls himself the leader of the team, which is what the quarterback should be. The guy who's the face of the franchise, who's the leader on the field, off the field, does commercials, hangs out with sick children, and whatever. They're supposed to do as quarterback, all your responsibilities. This guy actually had his back turned to the field when the game-winning field goal was being kicked because he couldn't watch. What's wrong with you? Are you kidding me? If I was one of the other players, especially the defensive players on that team, and I saw that, I would go nuts. Be like, what's wrong with this guy? How can we follow him anywhere? How can we trust this guy to lead us to a Super Bowl if he can't even watch his kicker kick a field goal at the end of a game where the worst thing that would have happened would be that you go to overtime. You don't even lose. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really disappointing, honestly, to see someone do that. I mean, I understand Kurt Schilling had his thing in baseball, putting the towel over his head, and that's baseball. You play a million games, doesn't really matter. But with football, you got to be there. You got to be watching. You got to be leading the charge on the field when you win. You can't have your back turned looking at the crowd. So this week, Matt Schaub is the badge of the week for being a wimp and not watching the field goal to win the game. And it's ridiculous. He's not a leader.
Interesting one.
So there you have.
Is it true?
No, yeah. No,
You idiot! Because of your inefficiencies, there you...
I don't know what that was. But anyway, there you have.
I mean,
This one was better. No, I'll save that one for later.
That's enough, the both of you.
Ouch!
It's kind of like, it's not maybe not the same thing, but it's like, I used to get mad when you could see with McNabb do an interception, he'd be on the sideline by himself pouting. Instead of like when Manning throws an interception, he looks at the film. He's like right back to,
He gets
okay,
mad.
how do I get better?
Yeah, what
Instead
happened?
of moping, and that
and
just
this
seems
guy's
like,
standing there. Oh, okay, what's going to happen? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Come on. Give
Yeah,
me a break. I mean, the guy missed a field goal, I think, and they scored a touchdown, but later to win the game. But it's just...
yeah.
And this is truly a problem I see. There is a shortage of quarterbacks, but in a perfect NFL, all quarterbacks would be type A personalities, like a Favre or
A Manning.
Brady, and not this, where I'm just another player on the team
Yeah.
type of personality, like a Schaub.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good.
Yep.
Good analysis, bro.
That's right. Good producer
That's
analysis.
right, damn it. Let's have the first combined pick. Week 3, Danny D.
All right, fine pick this week, which means we'll get these two right, is Tampa Bay +8 at New England. New England has shown the complete and total inability to separate from anybody in any game. They've won their first two games by a combined 4 points, I think. Tampa Bay has gone 1-1 by a combined 3 points. So I believe this will be a close game. Tampa has a really good defense. They held New Orleans only 16 points last week. They got a lot of pressure on Drew Brees, and they were able to do a lot of good stuff. And New England does not have the offensive core that the Saints do. I mean, Gronkowski may or may not play. I don't really think that makes much of a difference. The receivers are terrible. They can't catch the ball. I mean, Brady was going nuts at that Thursday night game because these guys are all a bunch of bunglers. Their main, what's his name? Running back, what's his name? No, not Revere. Vereen. He's out for 8 weeks or something, so they lost him. Stephon really did nothing last week. Their defense is okay, so that's why I think it's not going to be a blowout, but this should be a close game. This should be a field goal, maybe even a touchdown game. The line's way too high, so I think I would go with Tampa here. Don't think they're going to win because of all the other problems they have with their coach. They hate him, but they play hard and they have a good defense. So I believe this will be a close game, and New England will not cover 8.5. So I'm going with Tampa Bay.
I think we should let the fans know because they pay a lot of money for our services. We should let them know that we originally had Atlanta picked, but then Dan being on top of the game, that's why I chose Dan as my number 2. Figured out that 3 major players for the Falcons are going to be out. So we switched our pick from Atlanta to Tampa Bay, but we just like our fans to know that we're on top of things.
That is completely irrelevant information.
No, it's just letting the fans know our research, how invested we are.
And the other reason I came on is because you were number 2 the first season you did the show by yourself.
So there you have your first combined pick, being the Buccaneers on the Bay, but they're actually playing in New England. So we've got that to deal with. But as you as you pointed out so well, there's no receivers. So let us now have our second combined pick from Big Brian B.
All right, the second combined pick for Week 3 will be Houston -1 at Baltimore. Basically, Baltimore, they won last week, but they were playing a bunch of JV players in the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns not a very good team. Baltimore got blown out by the Broncos. They had 49 points. The defense did not look good at all. Last week, the only reason they won is because they were playing the Browns, and they were only able to score 14 points against a bad team. Houston's coming in. They're 2-0. They got a lot of weapons on offense, and their defense is pretty good. And also, the Baltimore is without Ray Rice. So and I like the low -1 spread, which I actually think it should be higher in favor of Houston. So I like the -1. So go out and place your money, your bets on Houston.
Houston going into Baltimore without Ray Rice. You're betting against a Super Bowl winning team. But
no weapons on offense.
Dan's favorite future Hall of Famer has left the team. So we've got that disadvantage.
The murderer.
I just remember the Super Bowl show. It was like every other word out of Dan's mouth. But he's a murderer.
That's right. He is a murderer. He got away with it too.
Baltimore has nobody on offense to throw the ball to.
No,
So.
they have nobody on offense.
Special thanks to Miller for creating the new 32-ounce can. God bless America.
Oh, high life. Is it light?
Did he get the
They
whole?
don't got this in the third world nations, folks.
Did he get the 20-pack for $5?
They don't sell this in soccer stadiums.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's almost a 40.
Yeah, right.
It's funny.
Oh, man.
That's right. Not quite a 40. It's like a high-class version of the 40.
They're out of Colt 45.
You get a 6-pack of that?
40's a little cumbersome, but not this 32, Jobby. This sucker fits right in the palm of your hand. Not that desperate.
Did you get a 6-pack?
No, you buy these. These are singles.
Oh, you buy them singles?
A 6-pack.
So were you carrying like just 3 or 4 of those in your arms, walking from the deli?
No, but I will be later tonight.
Yeah, well, because Brian wouldn't be able to.
So the good news is, a little frustrating. Every week we have a different sponsor, but I'm hoping this week's sponsor will be with us for the long haul. I think there's a lot of potential there, as opposed to, some of the foreign beer companies and other sponsors we've had that have kind of been fly-by-night, one time, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, a word from our sponsor.
I've seen the rain in Seattle, the frozen fields of Green Bay, the gray skies of the Motor City, and Soldier Field on game day. The Metrodome is old, Cowboy Stadium is too expensive, Philly fans are annoying, Raider Nation is offensive. We like it hot, with blue skies, bikinis, and speedboats. We love plastic beads, suntans, white sand, and Gasparilla floats. So stay in the north, in your cold and your grime. We'll hold down the coast, where it's warm and it's bright. We live and play here by choice. We dig the sun and the sea. We feel bad for the rest of y'all, cause it's a buck's life for me.
And we're back for the second half of the Big Pick 4 Week 3 show. Now we will have our guaranteed picks. We got to turn it around now. Let's have first guaranteed pick from Big Danny D.
All right, my pick this week is I'm riding the Buffalo train. Buffalo +1 at the Jets. Quite honestly, it's based on the quarterback play. E.J. Manuel has played a lot better than Geno Smith. And Buffalo has better weapons, as funny as that might be, than the Jets. I mean, the Jets just seem like a disorganized group of jerks. Just run around, don't know what they're doing. They had their general manager come out earlier this week and said that if Geno Smith loses on a couple games, they're going to bench him and play Matt Sims. I guess Phil Sims gave him a call last week. It's at the Meadowlands for the Giants game. They're ridiculous. You got to ride it out with Geno Smith, the good and the bad and the ugly, to find out what you have. Because it's not fair to him either. And the coaching staff doesn't matter because they're all going to be fired at the end of the season. But Buffalo's done some good stuff. They played well against New England at home. They beat Carolina last week on the last play of the game, which we detailed earlier. They're getting a point, and I think they can win the game. As I said, A.J. Manuel, I trust him more right now than I do Geno Smith. He showed more poise. He led his team on a nice fourth quarter comeback last week. They have a better running game. They have C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson, who actually would retire. And, they're a better team. They have better defense. Even though I think this will be a bit of a struggle. I don't expect either team to put up 20 points, really. Or if they do, it'll be like 20-17 or something. But I would take Buffalo in this game based on the play of their overall team and the quarterback especially, because Manuel is clearly shown this season why he was a first-round pick and why Smith was a second-round pick by the Jets, just because you can see the difference in their personalities. How Manuel rallied the troops to a win, and how Geno Smith just sits on the sideline and cries after every bad series.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're picking Buffalo Bills, and they are coming in to the Jet Circus Arena in the Super Bowl 2014 venue. I'm sure we got to come up with a nickname for that, right? Down the pike, someone's got to come up with a catchy name based on the weather scenario there.
The Chris Christie get off the beach Super Bowl. He yelled at everyone to get off the beach before the hurricane hit last year.
Super Bowl Sandy. I don't know.
Superstorm Christie.
So now we will have our second guaranteed pick, Big Brian B.
I'm gonna do some more for my Big B week 3. I'm gonna do some more Cleveland bashing. I'm taking Minnesota minus 6.5. I think Minnesota's gonna easily cover. They're at home. Cleveland starting Brian Hoyer. Who the fuck is that? Excuse my language. They traded away Trent Richardson, their number 1 running back. Dan just told me that the GM came out, Joe Banner, basically the president basically came out and said that they traded away Trent Richardson, so they were going to have a bad record, so they can go out and get a good quarterback in the first round.
Yeah, crazy Joe Weasel, the Weasel Banner.
And the Browns defense has actually played okay the first 2 weeks. But I've been over the last couple of years, I've noticed this about the Browns. Their defense is always decent. It's always the offense that's sad. And their offense is not going to be able to get anything going this week. Even if Cleveland's defense can hold Minnesota. Minnesota's not a juggernaut on offense. I just think that Cleveland's going to have a lot of 3-and-outs with Hoyer. That's just a bad offense, and I think they're going to leave the Cleveland defense out there on the field a lot. I can see Minnesota winning 17-7, 20-10. But I think they're going to cover.
You're going to see a lot of Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't help the Vikings in their first game, did it? You know?
Yeah, but they're playing
Adrian Peterson running all over the place.
Yeah, but they're playing against 2 real teams the first 2 games. They're both on the road. Now they're going to be at home, and they're playing against a team that may not beat Alabama. I mean, that Cleveland team is awful.
They're awful.
They're absolutely awful. Brandon Ween's not starting this week, and his days are numbered, so he doesn't care. They traded their best offensive player away for some magic beans.
The only guy they have on offense is Josh Gordon, but Brian Hoyer's going to throw him the ball.
And this is his first game of the season after he was suspended the first 2 weeks. They've scored a big 16 points in their first 2 games. No.
The only question that I have this year going in, obviously who's going to win the Super Bowl, but the other question I have is who's going to get the number 1 pick. Is it going to be Cleveland or Jacksonville? Those are by far the 2 worst teams.
Yeah, those 2 teams could both go winless this season.
Yeah, or 1
Jacksonville.
15.
Jacksonville could lose every game. They're awful.
Well, and as we know, if you do get that number 1 pick, it's a sure lock that player is going to be successful in the NFL, right? What a joke that is.
Yeah, it kind of is at this point. I think that's become a lot better science than it was even 15 years ago. Teams really can scout guys. They can get so much more information about guys. They can punch up video instantly on the internet of guys and watch them play. So much more organized. You don't see a lot of bad first-round picks anymore like you used to, especially at the top of the draft.
I still don't understand why Jacksonville doesn't pick up Tebow. I don't get it.
He is not going to be in the league anymore. He's done. His NFL career is officially over.
No, he says he won't go to Canada. He won't play another position.
That it's over.
He's going to follow his dream.
Well,
but why wouldn't Jacksonville pick him up? What do they got to lose?
Because they want to win. And the thing is, there was a group of...
They're not winning, though.
You know what's funny about your story?
They're not putting butts in seats.
You know what? If you're talking about that, there was a group that was supposed to show up there for their home opener that was organizing a rally to get Tim Tebow to show up in Jacksonville. Do you know how many people showed up at that rally for Tim Tebow?
Yes, it was like the Million Muslim March.
It was 13 people.
Like 9 people.
13 people showed up. 13. Guy, that's it. 13 people showed up. They don't want him there either. It's just a sideshow. The coach doesn't want. He stinks. That ship has sailed. He needs to become a college analyst on ESPN or one of those networks. He'll make a fortune doing that, being a motivational speaker, writing books.
No, a mega church. We need a mega church.
Maybe he can do that. I don't know, but his fortunes are going to be made elsewhere. His football career is over unless he becomes a tight end, which I don't think he has the foot speed for.
Or like a fullback.
Yeah, well, most teams don't have fullbacks anymore.
Yeah, why can't you put him as a not a tight end, but a split end where potentially you could do
he doesn't have any
lateral
speed.
to him, and he does a rollout.
So you have him for 3 plays a game, and what's the point of having a player like that? He can't play special teams. No, he's gone.
Pay him $1 million for 3 plays.
Yeah, right.
You don't know whether he's going to go out.
Whatever.
A pass. You don't know whether he's going to catch it and throw
Jacksonville
it.
Already,
I mean, it's a mystery.
Jacksonville
right?
already has a guy like that who's better than Tebow. And Robinson, remember how his first name is? Denard Robinson, I think his name is from Michigan.
That's right, they do have him. You're
he
right.
can do that. He has better speed. He can play that position if they wanted to.
Too.
He knows how to be running back and receiver, and they can do some of that stuff with him if they want to. They don't need Tebow for that. His career's over. He needs to go away or go on TV. That's it. Or become a Mormon.
So there you have your week 3 final guarantee from Big Brian B. being who was it?
The Vikings.
Vikings against the Browns. Yes, sir. All right, now let's have the week 3 man violation from Big Brian B.
Thanks for the intro. Before I get my man violation,
The crickets ready.
No, let me talk. You guys talked and bullshit and went on and on. Now, before I do my man violation, I just want to apologize to the audience first. Been doing the show for over 3 years now, and some of the stuff, man violations I do might be a repeat, so I apologize. But I have created a special category, Hall of Fame. So if I do come up with one that's already been used, I'm going to call it a Hall of Fame man violation. So.
No, but I just interrupt. Last week you pulled one out of your ass. That was just fantastic.
You like the Little League one?
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's a good one, huh?
He defended himself this week too.
Yeah,
that
Ed
guy.
Kuhn was pissed off.
You serious?
Yeah, he was like, "Yo, I heard you called me out on the show."
Yeah, he's like, "What's wrong with watching Little League? It's good baseball."
And then he tried to stop a coworker. A coworker was walking by, and he's like, "Hey, Scott, would you watch Little League baseball?" And Scott's like, "No." All right. So for this week might be a one we've already used, but I'm gonna go with men who hyphenate when they get married, who hyphenate their names. If you're a man and you hyphenate your name to add your wife's last name, then you should just not even get married unless you're gonna get married to a guy. But there are men out there, and it is true. I've actually seen it. There are men that when they get married, they take on the wife's name hyphenated. That is against everything of being a man is all about. So for all you out there who watch the show religiously, I know we have millions of followers. For all you who say, "Oh, this has already been used and I've been done in the past," then I'm going to put this in the Hall of Fame category. Just like Dan's uncle who wears capri pants. That is man violation, Hall of Fame worthy. So that is my man violation, and I may have used it in the past, but it's Hall of Fame worthy.
Yeah, this is totally
Someone do
specious
that?
reasoning. He saw someone's name that was hyphenated, and he thought that the guy took his wife's name. I mean, it could be
No, but
something
it
as
is- it does
simple
happen, though.
as his mother took his her
That's one
father's
example.
name, and so they named
Yeah,
him
right.
the same way.
There's
so
one
this is
example.
completely
But it does
ridiculous.
happen, though. It does happen, though.
That's never happened, has
No,
it?
it does
No,
happen.
it
Yes,
doesn't
does
happen. Never.
Yes, it does
That's
happen.
never happened in the
Yes,
history of
it
the
does.
world.
No, this is a
Men
totally
have
made
done
up
it.
violation.
No,
this is
men
the worst
have done
violation
it.
that
No,
Brian's ever come
no,
up with.
men have done it. Men have done it. Men have taken on the names. I've asked
Yeah.
people.
So is your
yes,
name
I've asked-
is your name Brian O'Hearn bitch or something? I mean, no, that's an awful violation.
That is true. That has happened. I asked people, but I even asked some of the attorneys at our office. I even asked Jeremy Weiss, and he said, yes, it does happen. Men do that.
Do you believe this?
Yes, my future last name is going to be Madonna.
O'Haron Madonna?
Come on, you can
No,
do better than her. She's older than you.
Scott O'Haron Madonna?
No, Scott Madonna. What are you talking about?
No, that's not the violation. The violation is when you hyphenate it.
Mm.
The
See,
wife's last name.
I knew a better violation. I had a biology teacher in 10th grade who was going to get married, and she was trying to convince her husband to take her name instead of her taking his name.
That is better, but did it happen, though?
I don't know.
That would be better, but we don't know that happened.
Brian and I's aunt, her first husband was named Jim Zitt, so that may have been advisable in that case. But he turned out to be gay, so she's now married to somebody. Steve somebody. I'm not joking. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. His name was Jim Zitt. Look it up.
That's horrible.
No,
Poor guy.
so sad.
That's awful.
Can you imagine being named Jim Zitt and you're gay? I mean,
Oh my god, that's terrible.
especially you might even be a catcher instead of a pitcher or something, you know.
Right, this show's going down a dark road now.
If you play baseball, I mean.
Oh boy.
We need a producer on top of a
Yeah, I know.
producer.
This is a football sports betting show. This isn't a social commentary show.
We need somebody above Scott.
Yeah, right. Yeah, where's Zeus with the bolt of lightning?
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have your picks. We're going to do a recap of our week 3 picks. Okay, so what you're doing is you're picking your Texans, your Bucks, your Bills, and your Vikings. I'm not seeing too many trends here. We're getting a heavy favorite, heavy underdog, and then we're getting like a pick'ems in the middle with the Texans and the Bills. Any final thoughts on the picks for this week?
Yeah, I see
Guru?
3 road teams there.
Ah, thank you.
Yep.
Good point. 3 road. What's the deal on that?
I don't know. There's a lot of weak teams.
Yes.
Is there? I know you gave up the big O, but is there any one of those 4 picks that you really like?
Oh yeah, I mean, Cleveland. I mean, we may be on a ABC train this year. Always bet against Cleveland, I mean, like you say.
Yeah, right.
I like that.
I mean, there's no danger that you know.
ABC train.
At least it's not winter where they're worried about if they're in the middle of the game and a mountain of snow is going to fall on their head.
Right.
In the middle of the stadium. You know, when the roof gives way like it already did.
What? They don't play in a. They play in a open air stadium in Cleveland.
No, they're in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Where the roof collapsed. Do you recall?
Yes.
Where a whole mountain of snow fell onto the end zone.
Yeah, it fell right in the middle of the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So we don't have to worry about that factor. So absolutely, I mean, you can see everyone's jumping on. I mean, that line started at a -3.5.
Oh, really?
It's up to a -6.5.
A lot of people
are on to that game.
Yeah.
Jumping on
Believe
the ABC. I like that ABC train.
Yeah.
ABCs. You got to know your ABCs.
that's right,
Always
baby.
bet against
ABCs
Cleveland.
a
That's
betting,
right.
baby.
Bet against Cleveland.
Always bet.
Yeah. And if the line wasn't so big, we could have picked against Jacksonville. That line's ridiculous. Minus 19.
Yeah, that's fucking.
Oh, that was a good point. They said that set a record. That was the
I
biggest
just said that to Dan.
spread. Yeah, since Peyton Manning went on his like 21 game run, right?
I told you, yeah.
Wow.
I just said that to Dan.
They
before
said
we got
that broke
on
the
show.
record.
Wow.
I just said
Yeah.
that to Dan before we got on the show.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, you mentioned that.
I just said that to him.
Wow, 19-point spread.
That's like a college. That's like
But
when
the-
Temple plays Notre Dame or
The
something.
scary part is Seattle might actually be able to cover that spread.
What do you mean cover it? So what's the spread? Like who?
Seattle's favored by 19 at home against Jacksonville, who scored a combined 11 points in their first 2 games.
Well, and they set the Guinness record last week for the loudest stadium of all time, and they beat out like a Turkish soccer stadium.
No shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really? No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bona fide, legitimate Guinness record for the loudest stadium of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how they constructed that place to keep all the sound in. Wow.
And Seattle's healthy too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are no issues there.
Well,
Marshawn Lynch.
their tackle,
Uh,
Russell Okun, is out,
Oh yeah, he's out.
but I don't think it matters against Jacksonville. And they can pretty much put anybody out there against that team.
That's awesome. But you didn't want to jump on that line, eh?
No, it's too big.
19 and a half?
No, because on one hand, it's reasonable to think Jacksonville might lose by less than that. But on the other hand, you think, Seattle could blow them out. So that's a tough line.
Yeah, you kind of think this isn't college basketball. I mean, we shouldn't have a line looking like that. Or like the first game of college football, the first game of the season,
Yeah.
favored by 48.
Yeah.
Like I looked at the when Temple played Notre Dame line beginning of the year just for shits and giggles, and Notre Dame was favored by 20. It was minus 24.
There was a game, I think it was Alabama or Clemson or somebody was playing some awful unknown college, and they were favored by 54.
Yeah.
54-point spread.
But the funny thing is that guy who's been on 60 Minutes, who's been very successful in building a betting empire, he will actually take action on one side of a college football game just to shave the line a half point, and then he'll jump in on the other side for the win.
Huh.
I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, he'll move that line. If he needs it moved a half point, he'll jump in on the wrong side of it to move it a half point, and then he'll jump in 10 times greater on the other side. I mean, it's
That
insane.
is insane. That's
Wow.
tough on some of those spreads, though. That's be a small.
And he's got a
spread.
whole army of people working for him. He's got like a NASA command center, that he operates from, and people are out placing these bets for him. It's crazy.
Pretty cool.
That's pretty
That's
amazing.
pretty cool, man. Pretty cool life.
Oh, it is cool. I mean, the guy started as like a bookie gopher as a kid, and just worked his way up, and he has his own Vegas empire now. That's all he does is bet on sports, nothing else. And he flies around in a private jet too.
Oh, nice.
That shows you
Yeah.
that don't be a Warren Buffett. That's boring. He lives in the same house in Oklahoma that he lived in when he first married his
Omaha.
wife. Omaha, thank you. Same difference.
Yeah, Omaha.
I'm sure Omaha and Oklahoma are really different
Well,
places.
Oklahoma's
right?
not a city; it's a state.
Oh, never mind. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So what you want to do is you need money to go out and place these bets on the Vikings, the Bucks, the Texans, and the Bills. So what you may need to do if you don't have that cash on hand is go out and fake cancer, and get people to donate, and then eventually when the gig is up, you've already won on the big pick 4 picks, so you're able to pay that back. But then you still have the profit as a residual. Get the community involved, of course.
That's terrible. That's really terrible.
Not my idea. I'm just
You see those jerks on the news all the time getting arrested for that. That's terrible.
Oh.
So take that money, and as always, go out, place your bets, and
Score with Big Pick 4.
Right.